Hey everyone, Ryan here, and this is my first new vid in quite some time. This is also the first new startup procedure video that I've done since the 2009 upload of vertical reality simulation Superbug for Flight Simulator 2004. And yes, for VRS fans, whenever they work out their kinks for their TAC Pack expansion, I will update on that procedure video. I know the current video is kind of old and it was to the point mainly because not all the procedures that you would do on the actual NFM 500 is not programmed into that simulation. So I couldn't do everything that I would usually do on a normal startup turn on the real Hornet. Anyway, the A-10 Charlie is completely opposite. The simulation for startup is very immersive and detailed, so it's important to go over it the same way. Today we're going to learn how to start up the A-10 Charlie, mostly in accordance to the standard operating procedure that Ecodynamics has made for the user. And it is substantial in terms of sim enthusiasts who are always looking for the most realistic experience. I will leave a link of an interview that was done before the release of DCS a couple years back, explaining that in particular detail. Um, I really don't want to get into it right now. But anyway, as far as the procedures is concerned, feel free to pause and replay certain procedures. I recommend not skipping parts or jumping ahead of yourselves, especially the part regarding the enhanced attitude control system. It's very important that you make sure that procedure leading up to engaging the EAC is done, and I will remind you folks about it as we get into it. All right. So as you see right here, you're looking into the cockpit of the A-10 Charlie. Um, we will get to the first procedure, which is starting up the battery and the inverter. I will zoom that up right here. It'll be this panel. So we start up the battery first and the inverter to standby. Now we're going to zoom out and we're going to head over to the light switch panel, which will be this here. This would be the signal light lamp test. It'll start up all the light procedures all over the cockpit, and it's the same thing as the FA-18 Hornet. We always do a light test, and we check to make sure that all the lights are on. All right. So we're looking right here. We're looking right here. Over here where the gear is. Noser steering engage, our master cautions, our beacon and canopy unlock, all of our caution panels. All right. As soon as that's done, you can let go. The next thing, we will also do a fuel bit test, which is right here. And all you have to do is press this. It should stick at around 6,000 or 5,900 pounds, and it should be the needle gauges instead have to be around 3 or 3,000. All right, let that go. You'll be good. Next, we're going to move over here to our O-Box regulator. Turn on the supply, and then we're going to do the indication tests right here. It should be at 0.5 when the caution goes on, in which you can turn it off. All right. Next thing we're going to do is turn on our comms. So right here we have frequency mode dial. Right click it. That's all you have to do. Right click once. All right. Same thing for this panel right here. Right click that. And also for your UHF, you have to set the function dial to main, which is just another right click. All right. Before we start up the APU, we have to set our AC generators. So we set these to on. And onto our boost pumps, our wing and main, right here, we turn all of these on. All right. Now we're ready to start up the APU. The APU startup switch is right next to the throttle. And now we're going to look at our gauges. By the time it idles out, it should be at 100%, and our EGT for it should be at around 4. So it'd be probably 400 degrees. Okay. Alright, as you can see, the APU is now ready. We will head over back to the electric panel, and we will turn on the APU generator power. Alright. We will also uncage our standby attitude indicator. So all you have to do is right click and make sure this needle gauge is in the middle, and you are now officially uncaged. Now we're going to go back to our engine indication panel, and we're going to start up the engine. We're going to start up engine 1, which is right out, and the home key. As it starts up, you're going to hear the APU generator caution go off. All you have to do is just turn it off. And now we are set at idle. Our N2 pressure should be at, I believe, 61%. Our PSI should be under 60, and our EGT should be at around 550. All right. So we're going to start up the second engine, which is right control and the home key. Alright. Now that both engines are up and running, we can now turn off the APU generator and the APU itself. Starting off with the APU generator and ending it with the APU start. Another thing we should be doing is checking our FCS. So we're going to go hit the F2 key, and we're going to be looking at the A10 itself. And basically we're gonna wipe out left, right, up and down, rudders, check the brakes, check the flaps. All right. Oh, by the way, the flaps key is F. And to close the flaps is Shift and F, left shift. Alright, see that we're done here. Go back into the cockpit. We will then start up our CDU and MFDs. So if you go to here, this is our CDU panel right here. And we're going to turn on the CDU. And we're going to turn on the EGI. Alright. So while this is loading, we're going to go straight to the MFDs. Let me zoom out. Here are your MFD on switches. You turn these on, which is just a right click. We will then go down to this part of the panel right here to our Kiku switch. Turn that on, the MFDs will engage. And we will also set the IFFCC to test. This will start up all of our bit procedures. And if we head up to our HUD, we will see engage pre-flight bit. And we will hit enter on our upfront display. Okay. So while that's going on, it's going through pretty much every procedure. I'm not too sure. I'm not an A-10 guy, you know. I'm a Navy guy. So now that we have our DTS upload, I usually wait for the bit procedure to end before I actually load up the cartridge, and as well as load up the yaw and the pitch SAS. So now that we're done here, we can hit enter to exit. We can use this selection panel right here to also exit. And we can finally go back to our IFFCC switch and turn it on. And this is what you will see after. So our HUD display is on. Alright. I will then turn on our yaw SAS and our pitch SAS. And we will finally load the cartridge into the system. So you would hit load all DTS data. As soon as you click that, the asterisks on each section right here will disappear, and the load time is about 15 seconds. Alright, as soon as it's loaded, the asterisk will return, in which case we will now display the tactical awareness display on the left MFD, and we will display the CDU on the right MFD. As you can see, the alignment is still going on, and as we get closer to the EAC procedure, we're going to be looking at this really close, the INS nav ready. Alright, so while we're still waiting on that, we will head back to the CDU panel, and we will set the steer point switch to flight plan. Alright, it's just right click. We will then go back to our left MFD. Oh, I'm sorry, we will head back down to the panel below it, and we will turn on our JTARs. Alright. And now we're going to be waiting. What we're waiting here is for the INS nav ready indicator to blink. And after that, we can set to nav. We can set to EGI. And we can set to EAC, which is being blocked by our throttle. Sorry, I don't have my track IR on me right now. I lost the panel piece for the head track movement, so I can't be all fancy like some of you folks. Alright. Another thing while we're waiting, we can come over to our countermeasure panel, and we will select the master CMS mode to standby, which is a right click, and we will turn all these switches on. Okay, now the display here should be on, as well as up here and right here. Alright, sometimes depending on how fast you actually do your procedure, the INS nav ready it's gonna take a while. So this is the part where I know some people they're either too impatient to engage the EAC and they just go ahead and they taxi away. Um, no, that's wrong because the EAC enables you to have autopilot for starters. Um, it also stabilizes it stabilizes your aircraft when you're coming in for your gun run. Sometimes when you do have it off and you line up a target and you fire your gun, you're gonna hear bitching Betty start basically will say altitude or autopilot. My bad, autopilot. Um, that means it's not stabilizing itself while it's doing the gun run. And well, you'll have a fun time if you're trying to shoot a little precision like target. Alright, now our INS nav ready indicator is blinking. So we will now hit the nav key right here. We will hit the EGI nav mode. We will come over here to our autopilot panel and we will select EAC. And we will also select radar altimeter. Now finally all we have to do is hit the seat arm handle and we head over here to the anti-skid, turn that on, and finally we will hit the insert key, and now our steering is engaged. We are ready for taxi, and that's it, gentlemen. That's how you start the DCS A-10 Charlie aircraft. Like I said, if you know, I'm a Navy guy. I worked on Hornets. My turn procedure is with Hornets. So if I miss stuff, please let me know politely. And I will try and fix the video as best I can, or at least annotate. There is a procedure I did miss, which was close the canopy, which is well, for the Hornet community, we usually do not. When we do our maintenance turns, we don't close the canopy unless we're doing a pressure check from inside the cabinet. So I missed that procedure. My bad. You know, I don't want procedure Nazis coming after me. All right. Other than that, that is it. Thanks for watching.